Was that forceful enough? Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming and attending the Santa Rosa County delegation meeting. My name is Alex Andrade. I'm the state representative for House District 2. If you don't mind, we're going to begin with a prayer and a pledge and then commence the meeting. So if you don't mind standing, Senator Broxton. All right. Good evening, everybody, and thank you all for coming out and participating tonight. If you can't tell, we have a slightly larger crowd than normal. So thank you to everyone who submitted a speaker form beforehand. If you did submit a speaker form, your name should appear on the agenda. Agendas are available at the front table, where you see my staff, Katie and Trevor, over there. If your name is not on the agenda and you'd still like to speak, please make sure to go back down to that table and submit out a speaker form so that we can include you towards the end of the meeting. Because of the number of people here who've requested to speak already and the number of people who've submitted speaker forms, speakers whose names appear on the agenda, normally we allot 3 minutes per speaker because of time constraints. 2 minutes per speaker this evening, and then depending on how many folks submit their speaker forms this evening, if you submit your form this evening, depending on how many, we'll either assign 30 seconds or 1 minute per speaker towards the end. And also, given the amount of time and number of people speaking, I want to begin the meeting by moving without objection to extend our meeting by 1 hour to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to speak that wants to speak this evening. I'll also just remind y'all that you do have the opportunity, if there's more than one person in your group, to assign one speaker for your group, and you're more than welcome to do that and raise your hand in support or opposal of whichever speaker is participating. But with that, we'll go into opening statements, opening remarks from each member here before you, and then we'll begin with our 2 local bills for this evening. So, Senator Broxton.
Thank you, Representative, and thank you for coming out. What I think you know that across the state, every delegation in every county meets and to hear from the people. So you many times hear from us. Tonight we want to hear from you, and we look forward to it. We have a great crowd. I know we have some people here that will formally speak for some requests, but looking forward to tonight's presentations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. J.R. Williamson, State Representative, Florida House District 3, which covers pretty much all of Santa Rosa County, except I do not get the incorporated part of Gulf Breeze, and then I move into Okaloosa County. I know a lot of you in the crowd, and it's really good to see a lot of people here to speak to us today and tell us your needs and your wants for this legislative session. And I just want to say thank you for being here.
So with that, I'd like to move expeditiously to hear the first of 2 local bills presented by Commissioner Dave Peach and Devin Cook.
Mr. Chairman, gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Santa Rosa County Commissioners, thank you for your service and all you do for Santa Rosa County. And I do have to say it's a joy to be on this side of the microphone tonight. We have a local bill with our Civil Service Act amendment. Santa Rosa County Civil Service Act was established by the Florida legislature in 1979, has been amended several times over the years in order to remain current and relevant. The current Civil Service Act was last amended in 2002. Any amendments to that act must first be approved by the taxing authorities, presented to the Santa Rosa County legislative delegation, and filed in the legislature prior to the first day of session. Our proposed amendments include revising the applicability of the Act and civil service system, repealing and revising definitions, deleting the Santa Rosa County School Board as a taxing authority under the Act, revising the method of selecting the board, revising the budget appropriation process, repealing provisions related to the classified pay plan, leave and holidays, and amending the department to file suspensions, demotions, and dismissals, and various other administrative charges. Basically bringing our act up to current standards and reflection. So and if I got respect for your time, I would just like to say the following initiatives that Governor DeSantis is pursuing, and you all are: Santa Rosa County supports constitutional carry, the elimination of the concealed carry permit, and the ability of citizens 18 years and older to purchase and own firearms. We believe in preserving and strengthening home rule. We support Governor DeSantis' water quality and coastal resiliency initiatives, specifically ensuring the alternative water supply grant funding for DEP is fully funded, the FDOT 5-year work plan, and Governor DeSantis' vaccine mandate initiative, as we previously sent a letter saying we oppose the federal government from invoking any vaccine mandates on any business. We'll also have some requests, but in the respect of time, those are due to your offices. By the end of next week, we will get you those 3 small asks for legislative support for some projects we have going. I'll take any questions you have on that, on the bill or act.
Thank you, Commissioner Peach. I think I don't want to speak for the other 2 members here, but I think we all agree that we do oppose the same kind of overreach from the federal government that you've indicated tonight. So with that, I'm going to move without objection to approve the local bill for filing this year.
Awesome. Thanks, sir. You all have a great evening.
God bless. Next up is Benjamin Boyd and Chief Danny Furrow on behalf of the Navarre Beach Fire Rescue District.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Benjamin Boyd. I'm the vice for the Navarre Beach Fire Department out on Navarre Beach. I've been a resident of Navarre Beach since 1999 and a member of the fire department either as a volunteer or as a board member since then. Tonight we're coming to request for you to support a bill to transition the Navarre Beach Fire Department to an independent fire district. Navarre Beach has been an independent private fire company since 1990. At that point, the county of Santa Rosa couldn't support putting an independent fire company out there, so the leaseholders got together and they decided to form a company to do it themselves. Since then, we have, as the board, have tried to evolve as the island has. We've moved from a volunteer department to a paid department. We've transitioned over, taking care of the lifeguard service out there, the rescue as well, and more recently we're transitioning over ALS support as well. But the next portion of this transition is into an independent fire district because we as a board and a private fire company are missing out on some things that an independent government body can help us with. Transition to independent fire district would mean no changes to the operational services that leaseholders or any person in the county sees from us. There's no change in the funding that the leaseholders will see. There's also no change in our support to the mutual fire companies and to the county of Santa Rosa. The biggest change that happened is our access to programs and funds at state and federal level. Along-wise, an increase in administrative control at the local level for the leaseholders. Finally, the most important thing that transition to independent fire district allows us is to finally take care of our dedicated professional firefighters, who will then have access to the Florida state retirement system, which we as a private fire company just cannot meet or can't match. Last year, we attempted to put this bill through. We met with a very icy reception in Tallahassee. We are requesting your support to not only sponsor this bill, but to support and shepherd this bill through the legislative process. The voters have spoken. 74% have said that they want to do this. We have the support of the county, both the Board of County Commissioners, and we're asking you now just to support this bill and move it through. This is kind of the third time. This is the third year we've attempted this, and it would put us on the same footing as the other local fire departments in the South End. And with that, take your questions.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we've worked on this the past couple of years, and I put it, anytime somebody comes before me and to give a fee raise or a tax raise, where if I'm given an entity that ability, I make sure that I put some extra added protections in place. You met those requirements through your non-binding referendum. I will file the bill again this year, and hopefully we'll do better than we have in the past.
Seeing no further comment or debate, without objection, I'll move that we'll approve this local bill for filing this year. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, moving into the public input forum phase of this evening. I just want to remind everybody, if your name is on the agenda, you have 2 minutes to speak. I have the timer up here. I just ask that you all be respectful of each other's time. And I'm going to announce the person that's on deck following the next person after. So if you could please just move towards the podium so you're prepared to come and speak when your name is officially called. So with that, we're going to begin with Mayor J.B. Whitten of the City of Crestview, and then we're going to move on to Tim Parsons on behalf of the Holly Navarre Water System. So is Mayor J.B. Whitten here yet? All right, seeing no takers, we're going to move on to the winner of the 2021 Governor DeSantis lookalike contest, Mr. Tim Parsons. Governor, you have the floor.
I just want to start by saying, make America Florida. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and delegation members. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you all tonight on behalf of Holly Navarre Water System. Their CEO, Dr. Dallas Peavy, was not able to attend tonight's rescheduled meeting, but sends his best wishes to the entire delegation as you head into the 2022 legislative session. As you know, Holly Navarre Water System is a member-owned, not-for-profit corporation established in 1980, and it currently provides water and wastewater services to over 17,000 customers in Santa Rosa County. We just wanted to take this opportunity to briefly thank you all tonight for your continued support of the South Santa Rosa County Beneficial Reuse Strategic Plan. Two sessions ago, we submitted a legislative appropriations request to construct a pipeline to provide for the transmission of reuse water to Eglin Air Force Base. This project was designed to address our needs to reduce the disposal of effluent into the Santa Rosa Sound and for additional capacity to meet our growing demand that would otherwise reach capacity by the end of next year. With the help of our partners with the county, the City of Gulf Breeze, along with the assistance of Northwest Florida Water Management District, we are very proud to have begun work on a multi-phase project to meet the goals of Santa Rosa County for the next several years. The four-phase plan will provide critical infrastructure to permanently end the discharge of treated effluent into the Santa Rosa Sound and expand reuse capabilities and sewer services, allowing for less demand on the aquifer and increased use of reuse water for irrigation and other purposes. We look forward to the completion of this significant, lasting improvement to water quality and your continued support for additional enhancements to our local water quality. With that, I want to thank you for your time and wish you the best of luck in the 2022 session.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Wes Seiler of Preserve Navarre, and then on deck we have Jonathan Cole of the Navarre Area United PAC.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Wes Seiler, and I am the director of Preserve Navarre, and I'm here tonight to talk about Navarre's future. As the leader of this nonprofit over the past year, I've had the chance to talk to people all over the community. And whether they are for incorporation or against incorporation or mixed, they all say the same thing to me. They say, we don't want Navarre to become like Destin. They are terrified of the level of tourism that just seems like it's out of control over there, the lack of infrastructure. They see urbanization happening every day. And they believe that we need to do something to be able to prevent that. Now, some people say remaining unincorporated is the answer to that. Some people think incorporation is the answer to that. But either way, when we look at the growth, it's becoming more clear that Navarre is headed in that direction right now. Actually, I ran the numbers last night. The growth rate over the past 10 years in Destin is 16%. And that's exceptionally high. But then we look at Navarre, it's 31%. We are seeing an unincorporated Navarre is more Destin than Destin at this point. And if you don't believe the numbers, you can look them up on the census yourself, or You can just drive around and see. Look at the parks that are unfinished, the flooding problems that happen every time it rains. You can see traffic going through the roof. You can see tourism at record high levels. And so this theory of Navarre becoming or remaining unincorporated and that's going to fix it is being proven to be a lie every single day. Now, what do we do about that? How do we fix that? Some people say incorporation is the answer, but we believe it has to be done the right way. We need a group that represents Navarre, that takes the time to understand Navarre, and that works hard on their behalf to preserve their culture. Not a group that does its work in the shadows, a group that treats its people badly, and a group that doesn't have any answers. That doesn't mean I can answer every question on this. We're working towards that, but we're doing it in public. That's what you see in those binders, and you're welcome to come to a meeting and see what we're working on. But we are purifying this incorporation process. And now, as a question for you, and what I hope to work with you on, is making sure that the other part of this process is equally pure. Because I look at the requirements for incorporation, and they seem pretty clear to me in the state constitution. But I want to know if there's additional ones and where they come from.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Unless we have any comments. Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I've worked with groups in the past when it comes to incorporation on Navarre, and it goes back to the same thing with the fire districts. Anytime that there is a tax, I would be the one to run this local bill because it falls in my district. So what I did from the very beginning when I first took office, anytime that I'm going to grant a taxing authority or the ability to raise fees on the constituents that I serve, there's going to be a non-binding referendum put in place with 60% or more of the people voting for that.
Okay.
Then the bill would be run. You still have to meet all the requirements by state statute, and it comes back to the legislature, or excuse me, it goes back to the people for a vote. So everything that I just said is in state statute except for the initial non-binding referendum, which is something I've put in place, and I've been consistent with this since I've served office, and it's non-negotiable.
I'm just trying to understand because I don't see that written down anywhere. I know that you've said it before. I'm just trying to understand what's the basis for that.
My office can get you a packet that we give people on local bills.
Okay.
And I'll be glad to. And that is probably very high on that list to do.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is putting protections in place for the people that I serve. If I'm going to grant, you know, when I say I, the legislature, if we're going to grant the ability for people to raise taxes or raise fees on all of these people sitting out here in the audience, I'm going to make sure we have buy-in from those people.
Well, sure, but my question is, when you say 60%, there have been efforts that have incorporated with less than that. And I fully believe we have the support. I'm not really worried about that. I just want to make sure that the rules are set. I don't want them changing in the middle of the game. When you look at like Waxahachie, which incorporated in 2006 with 56% of the vote, I just want to understand why the standards are different depending on where you happen to live when the state constitution is the same.
Thank you, Mr. Schuyler.
And I can just state that I don't represent those areas.
Okay.
But anybody that comes before me, whether it be wanting to form a new city, a new town, go to a special district for a fire, any taxing authority or fee-raising authority given to an entity over the people that I represent, there will be a non-binding referendum, 60% of the vote.
So it's personal requirements, what you're saying.
Personal requirements.
So you're going to tell 59% of the people, if 59% of the people support it, you're going to tell them no. Because
Yes.
got it. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next up is Jonathan Cole, and then on deck we have Dr. Martha Saunders from the University of West Florida.
Good evening, gentlemen. On behalf of Navarre Area United, I'm happy to appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you this evening on our giving a courtesy update of our continuing effort to incorporate Navarre. We've made progress on the feasibility study and Sample City Charter, and we are taking the steps necessary to have that non-binding referendum as Representative Williamson has required, and we're more than ready to take that up with the county commission and see what their requirements are. I saw a number of signs walking in tonight, and so I think some folks came down from Holly to express their opinion on where they play a role in all of this. I just want to say in closing that I want to reiterate that Navarre United has never intended to include Holly in our effort, and we never intend to do so in the future.
Thank you, sir. I mean, you have an extra minute, but far be it from me to
No, I'll give
let
you all
give
some
it
extra
back.
time.
Thank you. Dr. Saunders? And then next up on deck is Mary Golden, Santa Rosa Republican Party.
Good evening, and thank you for hearing us today. I come and bring greetings from your university, University of West Florida. It has been a difficult year and a challenging year, but we have prevailed in a lot of important ways that I've already told you about. I want to thank you all for your support in the past and the support that you will soon be giving us this year. We're asking for support for our cybersecurity program toward fulfillment of the development of a cyber coast for this region. We have leaned in heavily over the last few years on student success, and we're able to rank #1 this year in students who have jobs within a year after graduation. And we need support to continue to do that as we prepare our students to move on to the next chapters of their lives. And then finally, any support for deferred maintenance would be most appreciated. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Senator Broxton.
President Saunders, I think you know that the whole state recognizes the University of West Florida as being a leader in cyber technology, to the point that the federal government has put in one of their 2 hubs for Homeland Security, which brings tremendous resources to the area that you can piggyback on. And as you also know, we're trying to move a center over here that will represent all of Florida. So we're on it. We're working on it. And thank you for making that a priority at the University of West Florida. And we will try to do our part to make sure that we're singled out as the place in Florida where cyber is recognized.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Dr. Saunders. Go Argos. Miss Mary Golden. If no one wants to impersonate Miss Golden, we have Dan Nolan of the Central Santa Rosa County Republicans. Feel free to come on up, sir. And then after, on deck, we have Sandra Smith.
Senator, Congressman, I'm speaking on behalf of the Central Santa Rosa County Republicans, and we have recently been rechartered. We are assigned with improving the morale as a result of the past election. Before this year, we had many weekly meetings of local groups in garages, patios, what have you. Since then, because of the events, we have consolidated it to a monthly meeting. Unfortunately, a monthly meeting dealing with all of the issues that arise over 4 weeks. Trying to deal with them once a month is like drinking out of a fire hose. It just doesn't work. At the last meeting we had, we took all of the notes, collected them from our weekly meetings, the sessions that we have at various coffee shops, Thursdays and on weekends, and we broke them down into 4 categories. The signatures on the pages that we have of the categories are from members who agree with the categories. Not all members are signed, and it's not a petition, as you notice. It's just something to make you aware of the concerns that we have. And to emphasize our concerns, we do not simply give a complaint or an issue. We ended with proposing a solution. And the solution is not concrete. It's just a solution that we offer that can be revised. For example, on schools, a proposal was made that we have streaming cameras on schools. It's adequate for policemen.
Thank you, sir.
Why not?
Appreciate
And
the,
you've got the rest on politics, restoring the vote, restoring voter confidence.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate the information you gave us. All right. Next up is Ms. Sandra Smith, and then on deck is Krista Pate from Family First Network.
Good afternoon. I wanted to speak about a couple of bills coming up in the upcoming Congress. First, H. Bill 11, requiring you to be 30 feet from a police officer, provoking or harassing a police officer if they are carrying out their duty. And let me just say up front, I am not against police officers. I do feel like that this bill is not clear in its full interpretation. Also, the definition of harassing or provoking, which could impede freedom of speech for bystanders. Also, we have seen just recently in the major case that just happened with George Floyd that bystanders were actually able to document information that was helpful in the future, not only just to him, but also to help the police department as well. So I'm asking you, if this bill comes to committee, if you would consider opposing it or seeing it rewritten in a way that's much clearer as to its intent and purpose. And secondly, Senate Joint Resolution 244, if it comes in the session, it's listed as coming up as requiring persons running for the school board to declare a party and run a partisan race. I feel like this resolution is going to create a problem for parents and community people who would like to run because they're concerned about their schools and they're concerned about their children's education, but this is forcing them to go into a political fight, getting involved with major fundraising, party concerns, party fighting, rather than being concerned about the children, the school, because the schools belong to the community and to the parents. And this politicizes our children's education. So I'm asking you to consider opposing Senate Joint Resolution 244 if it comes to the floor.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Krista Pate, and then on deck we have David Jones from SRSU.
Delegation, may I approach with a handout? May I approach? Good evening, delegation. Thank you so much for the time. My name is Krista Pate, and I work for Families First Network of Lakeview Center. You're probably very familiar with Lakeview Center, but maybe not so much so with our Child Welfare Division, Families First Network. We were created 20 years ago in response to the legislative mandate to privatize foster care and related services under a concept known as community-based care. Our philosophy of community-based care revolves around a collaborative effort of community providers and services with a lead agency, which is Families First Network, ultimately responsible for ensuring family and child safety, well-being, and permanency. We serve the four-county area from Escambia to Walton County, which includes Santa Rosa County as well, and I am here today to ask you for your support in funding Florida case management workforce recruitment and retention. And let me just tell you why. Our certified child welfare case managers are the backbone of our agency and the foundation of child safety. They have many responsibilities and a multitude of legislatively mandated court actions to perform as well to keep kids safe. In order to do so, they connect families to services to help heal the reasons why they entered foster care and increase their protective capacities. It's very demanding work, as you can imagine. It takes a special kind of person to do this kind of work. These folks experience vicarious secondary trauma. They have very long hours. They have all kinds of demands. And at the end of the day, they're responsible for kid safety. They're basically our first responders. And they are just beyond underfunded. Our sister agency, Department of Children and Families, which funds us, their investigators, which are basically like our case managers certified, start between $5,000 and $8,000 less than our folks do. So it's been 2 cycles of legislative increases for those folks and none for us. So just here to say, please do that. If you do that, you'll help keep kids safe as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now we have David Jones from SRU, and then on deck is Barbara Albrecht from the Bream Fishermen Association.
Good evening. I'm David Jones with Santa Rosa Volunteers. It's SRV. They misprinted that there. Couple things. I need to ask all of you to support the governor in the upcoming special session in regard to the forced vaccination and private employees. My wife was released from a job for refusing a vaccine or refusing to be tested. Since then, there's employees in that hospital that have gotten the vaccine because of that pressure, and they are in critical care with pulmonary embolisms. So this vaccine is killing people. It has to be stopped. I know we try to stay away from the good, the bad. It's a personal choice, but as long as it stays with a personal choice, people can live with the consequences of their own choices, but shoving it down somebody's throat is wrong. The only other thing I have is the weaponization of our law enforcement agency against school parents of school children. Myself and several members of the crowd here tonight have been escorted out of school board meetings by officers paid more than double their salary by the school board for having dissenting opinions from the school board. It's wrong. There's times when we had 17, 18 parents there and numbered the officers in the same amount. Bomb dogs, SWAT officers for a school board meeting. And now we've got the federal government wanting to put FBI in that mix as well. I request that we submit legislation or do something positive to keep the level playing field there. Law enforcement certainly has its place there. We need to make sure that those meetings are secure and safe, but use them as bouncers to remove parents that have dissenting opinions is not the purpose or intent of those meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. And to everybody here, I love and appreciate the enthusiasm, but we are on a tight schedule. So the longer the applause go, the less time each individual person has to speak as they're going. So if they're okay with it, that's great. But just keep. All right, just making sure. I'm just giving all y'all a fair warning. All right. Barbara Albrecht, and then on deck is Leslie Dunaway. If Barbara Albrecht is not here, Ms. Dunaway, is Ms. Dunaway here? Leslie Dunaway? All right, knocking two off the list, Barbara Albrecht. We have Cindy Freshour. And then on deck is George Odsma.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for hearing us. I'm here representing the SINS-FINS program, which is the prevention arm of DJJ. SINS-FINS is Child in Need of Services, Families in Need of Services. We have approximately 20,000 children we serve a year between the ages of 6 and 17. We have a 90% success rate. We're doing this with such amazingly low staffing numbers. In our shelter in Pensacola right now, we have 5 full-time people, 1 part-time person, keeping it open 24/7. That's hard. And part of it is we haven't seen raises in years because the funding hasn't changed in years. Basically, the funding is, I wrote it down here, 37.6 million. We save, according to research, we're saving the taxpayers $160 million. So it's a total savings program to begin with. But the kids coming out, they bloom. And I'm actually representing the Florida Network of Children and Families, Youth and Family Services that covers the whole state. So we have approximately 25 shelters across the state that are experiencing the same thing. Our stats this month were just unbelievable, horrible. So we're obviously asking for some help with funding for our staffing shortages, both clinical, because we do non-residential services also, and for staff vacancies. That's about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. George Ozma, and then on deck is Edwina Williams.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'd first like to say I worked as poll deputy last time. When I got in the car, someone was on the radio, Doug, saying this state was turning purple. You were saying the state was turning purple. When I wear this shirt, I can assure you this state is not turning purple. The only thing that's turning purple are the legislators who are running as Republicans and then helping the Democrats with their agenda, okay? Those are the purple people. Okay. I also agree with Dan Nolan's whole list, and I'd like to see the cameras in the classroom. I'd like to see no mandates whatsoever. I'd like to see the gun control legislation that was last passed repealed. Your job as Republicans, you have like a label. It's like Star-Kissed tuna. Whatever's in the can is what I get, right? You have Republican on there. You're supposed to try to undo what the Democrats did. You're not supposed to do whatever they want. Okay? If we get a Republican legislature and a Republican governor, we should start seeing their agenda unravel. It isn't just the CRT in the classroom. We should have cameras in the classroom. We should have the ability to see what's going on. I can remember liberalism creeping in when I was in school. I'm 60 years old. I hated it then as a child. We need to get the liberalism out of the classroom. Every darn school board, except I guess Leon County, is doing whatever the Tallahassee people want. So Tallahassee's a blue zone, so they get to put out whatever they want, and then the school boards just do whatever Tallahassee wants. So what's the point of having local school boards? We need to start turning the ship around. This state is not turning purple, it's turning red, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like the word rhino, I had ancient relatives that were in the Dutch resistance, hiding Jews and hiding themselves, and they called those people collaborators. Please don't be collaborators.
Thank you, sir. Edwina Williams, and then on deck we have Anita Schmidt.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I bring you greetings from over 10,000 retired educators in our state, as I'm the president-elect of the Florida Retired Educators Association. Retired educators have seen countless promises made to them throughout our careers, broken over and over again by lawmakers, previous lawmakers. At present, the Florida retirement system for the state employees, the trust fund balance is at $199 billion and growing. If we follow the money, we know Wall Street wants to get its hands on our trust fund. We're now being promised that the pension plan must be closed to new hires to save the pensions because of unfunded liability. It was unfunded because of changes made in 2008, and they diverted the contributions and lowered the funding ratio from 108% down to 87%. Closing FRS to new hires is a terrible mistake, as it's demonstrated by other states that made the same mistake. Michigan, West Virginia, and Alaska are all recovering from those mistakes. Unfortunately, their taxpayers have to make up that money. So our Florida retirees support and create over 123,000 jobs in the state of Florida. We invest over $18 billion in our local economies. We also pay $2.7 billion in state and local tax revenues. We're truly invested in our great state of Florida. So I'm asking you to make sure that we retain Florida teachers by solidifying the FRS retirement system and leave our pensions alone. And also, I'm asking you to stop attacking and supporting bills to cripple public unions for state employees.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
And that's my 4-minute speech down to 2.
You did a great job. All right, we have Anita Schmidt, and then on deck is Melanie Waite.
Melanie was not able to make it.
Tony Thomas is on deck, though.
Good evening. I am Dr. Anita Schmidt. I'm a retired educator, having taught in Florida public schools for 20 years, a profession and vocation that I love. In my opinion, there is no occupation as personally rewarding or as important as teaching, and I trust that each of you have your own special teachers to thank for your inspiring personal journey. So that's why I feel compelled to implore you to consider the fate of education in your legislative efforts. Specifically, I also want you to protect the Florida Retirement System Trust Fund. Last year, Senate Bill 84 proposed the closure of our defined benefits pension plan to new enrollees and require them instead to participate in an investment defined contribution plan. This would have applied to educators, but not police officers and firefighters. That alone doesn't seem fair. Nearly 87% of our workforce agree that Florida teachers should continue to have a choice between a pension plan and a 401k account. While SB 84 was not passed, and we are so grateful to our representatives in the House that allowed that bill to die, we are concerned that this issue will be raised again. Without going into all the statistics, I will say that most folks agree that teachers are underpaid, considering the impact they have on our children. Offering competitive retirement benefits with a pension is important for maintaining good schools because it helps attract and retain good teachers and incentivizes long teaching careers. By the way, I'm sure that you know that public pension benefits our communities at large. According to the National Institute on Retirement Security, $18.2 billion are generated by retiree spending from public pensions in Florida. This money is aiding our local economies. Retirees help create, as Edwina said, more than 123,000 jobs and generate $2.7 million in federal, state, and local tax revenue. If teachers can afford to retire, they put much of that money back into our economy. Recently, I've had two very different conversations with some excellent teachers I know. One has teachers in the field telling me they cannot see retirement in their future because they don't think they will ever be able to afford to quit working.
Understood. We appreciate it, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right, so next up we have Tony Thomas, and then we have, if she's prepared for it, Mayor Heather Lindsay after Tony Thomas. So is Tony here? Mayor Lindsay, are you prepared to speak, or do you want to take some time? No, absolutely. So we'll move on to Jerry Davis, and then on deck is Jerry Cooey.
Hello, I'm Jerry Davis. I currently serve as Santa Rosa County Farm Bureau President, and I just want to thank y'all three for last year's passage of the Right to Farm bill that protects our agricultural rights, and we appreciate your service. And in 1946, a group of agricultural producers lobbied to have the West Florida Research and Education Center built to help our needs for extension and research. And in 1995, through a partnership with Pensacola State College, all three of the land-grant missions of research, extension, and education were brought onto this campus. I'm here today to request some dorms to be built. We currently have 15 graduate students with only room to house 2 of them on the station. There would be 2 resident dormitories, which will allow the center to recruit and educate these graduate students as well as these undergraduate students. As quickly as I speak, I'm glad I went ahead and passed a folder along to y'all when we started. In addition to that, the research center also needs modern laboratory facilities, additional classrooms, an education auditorium, and office space to accommodate this increasing student load and increasing mission success. Currently, we have 10 faculty and 60 personnel to support personnel on the station. We're also working to add an agricultural production engineer to work on machine systems analysis and design, precision agriculture and robotics and sensor technology, as well as fisheries, aquatic ecology, and to address the knowledge gaps related to our aquatic biological resources through the fisheries, shell fisheries, riverine, estuarine, and offshore characteristics. This is the West Florida Research and Education Center is the only major research facility in the state without modern facilities, and we really need this facility for the continued growth and success of the agriculture in this area. And we're also pursuing USDA and ARS possibilities to go on to this station. And with the agriculture economic impact of billions in Florida, we feel like the need is here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your input tonight. We got Jerry Cooey, and then if Mayor Heather Lindsay is you ready? All right, so Heather Lindsay is on deck. Mr.
Thank
Cooey?
you, delegation, for being here tonight, and I want to thank you already for the support towards Recall Florida has already received. The effort has been good. As we've seen, several other people have worked on things for years. I think we've made a lot of progress. Tonight, I rise for we the people and for Recall Florida. We currently have 20 counties in the state of Florida that have the right to recall elected officials if they are not doing their job. It's a matter of fairness to me. We have 47 counties that do not have that right. And as a strong advocate of we the people, please give us that tool in our toolbox. I think it's a fairness issue that I think should be across the state. We would also like to throw out that we would like all constitutional officers to be included in that. I don't think it's right to cut out just the commissioners. I think it should be all of them. This is an important thing. And I'll close with asking the people in the audience, do you think you should be able to recall your elected officials? I would suggest to you that the reason the room is full has a lot to do with the discouraged citizens that don't think they're being represented across the board as they should. So please continue to work, and we'll be here to help you on recall. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Cooey. We got Mayor Lindsay up next, and then on deck is Debbie Gunno.
Good evening. Good evening, Chairman and delegation members, and to all the public. As the Mayor of Milton, I welcome you to our beautiful city. I'm glad you're here tonight. It's also my honor on behalf of the Milton City Council to request your support for the city's 2022 legislative priorities. As you know, the city was fortunate to receive legislative funding for 2 appropriation projects last session, with $500,000 for both the North Santa Rosa Regional Water Reclamation Facility and the Lockland Lake Restoration Project. Thank you very much. We're very grateful for your support of this critical funding, as both projects will improve the water quality of the Blackwater River and provide a lasting impact on Santa Rosa County. This session, the city is excited to request support for 2 projects we believe will also have a major impact on the future success of Milton. The first project would help address the lack of sufficient workforce training in the region. Currently, the Santa Rosa County School District cannot grow programming on the Lockland Technical College campus due to the space needs of other programs. Additionally, the City of Milton is in dire need of a local program to train and certify utility workers in natural gas, water, and especially wastewater. Our proposal would utilize the now vacant hospital building on Stewart Street, formerly a state hospital, that DCF will no longer use to house patients living with mental illness. The 63,000 square foot building represents a major opportunity for reuse, as well as a starting point for potential revitalization of this critical corridor. The Santa Rosa County School District, Santa Rosa County, and City of Milton all recognize the need for the facility's conversion. All would seek the necessary funding through grants, partnerships, and other sources to complete the renovation. The other project we'd like support from you for is the expansion of the Milton Community Center. The city would like to see this facility expanded and renovated to provide adequate, flexible space to prepare our community for a severe pandemic, expansion of shelter space for this rapidly growing county, as well as to meet our community's growing senior and youth program needs. This isn't just for Milton, but for the entire Santa Rosa County area, especially central Santa Rosa County. The community center, as you know, is the primary emergency evacuation shelter for the county, a senior citizen center, a youth after-school and sports activities center, a polling place, a COVID-19 testing and immunization site. These renovations will more than double the size of the facility and will include many recommended hands-free air filtering and antiviral amenities.
Thank you, Mayor.
And I'm sorry, I know there was limited time. I am asking that the remarks in full be shared with you because I wasn't able to even finish the reduced level of remarks. So thank you so much for your patience and your support.
And we'll make sure to circulate that with the delegation. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we have we have Debbie Gano, and on deck is Denise Beckham.
In today's tyrannical world that's headed to a global communist government, we the people of your legislative districts expect you to stand by the oaths you took, which I expect you will. We cannot afford compromise or compliance as all allow tyranny to thrive. And I have way too many issues to discuss, so I'm pressing on. Social emotional learning, foundational in the Santa Rosa County K-5 ELA curriculum, because it's in the programs the state approved and pushed down to the counties. Castle's social emotional learning is prevalent in the teacher's guide. And the CEO of Castle stated, her company has revised its definition of and framework for social emotional learning to highlight the value of social emotional learning as a weapon for social justice. It does give the opportunity to turn impressionable students into leftist activists. Critical race theory and activist civics. It is alive and breathing in the English language arts curriculum here in Santa Rosa County, even though our superintendent of schools will tell you otherwise. Please pass a law that allows school districts to reject all state proposed programs and adopt known conservative pro-American curriculum, such as that provided by Hillsdale College. By the way, Commissioner Corcoran's wife has 2 charter schools, and that's what she uses in her schools. Stop the weaponization of school board law. I was removed from an April 20th meeting just for attempting to speak beyond my 3-minute time limit. Hopefully that won't happen tonight. With the DOJ targeting of parents speaking out for their children, we cannot afford a rogue school board to identify parents as threatening. There is case law that supports our First Amendment rights to speak aggressively and against the school board. Please repeal Florida State Statute 877.13 that gives the school board the authority to have speakers removed at their will and charged with a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree. Reproductive health, it's all in your package that I've given you, but one final thing I'd like to say. The special session for vaccine mandates don't compromise. And like the monoclonal antibody infusion centers, we need to establish locations to obtain ivermectin, as pharmacies are either charging 3 times the amount the true cost, or not even dispensing the medicine as prescribed by licensed medical doctors. Thank you very much.
Man, our Tallahassee committee meetings are never this lively. We got Denise. We got Denise Beckham, and then on deck is Mike Cagle. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Denise Beckham. I'm district captain for Convention Estates, 100% volunteer. If you're not familiar with that, I gave you the cards. The people that endorse it is our awesome Governor DeSantis, Ben Carson, Mark Levin, and if you go on the website on the back of my card, you'll see a lot of others, and these are people all concerned about our country. What the Convention of States is I just have to say thank God that our founding fathers had the wisdom to put Article 5 in our original Constitution, because this gives us a peaceful constitutional way to get our country back. The three things on our platform is term limits, and that's to get rid of the rhinos and the Democrats. This isn't a Republican, this is apolitical. We're trying to get rid of the career politicians, stop the government overreach. These mandates are getting out of control, and also get them to balance the budget. What I'm trying to do here is I have local meetings. It's the fourth Monday every month at the hangar at 6 o'clock, and I would love it if any of you would ever come to attend, because we have a lot of concerned people that you can find out exactly how they feel personally and work with us to try to help get our country back. And I just want to introduce myself and hope to see you at one of our meetings. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beckham. We got Mike Cagle, and then on deck we got Cindy Cagle. I don't know if you guys know each other or not, but
I'm actually speaking in substitution of Mike Cagle, if that's okay. My name is Timothy Boyette, and thank you very much for having me. I am a husband of 22 years and father of 2 sons, and we live in Santa Rosa County. Last Friday, I worked my final scheduled shift as a radiology physician at a local hospital where I've worked over for the past decade, performing thousands of procedures on patients over that time. This hospital is where my parents were born. I will no longer be able to provide medical services at this hospital, as I was recently denied exemption of the vaccine mandate despite natural immunity from the infection, as well as a religious conviction that prevents me from getting the vaccination. Tonight, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. What and why aren't we talking about natural immunity? That's number 1. And number 2, what is informed consent and what does it imply? Firstly, there's extensive evidence that natural immunity to the COVID-19 illness is robust and long-lasting. Let me explain. This means that documented recovery from the natural illness imparts significant protection to future illness and transmissibility. Numerous scientific papers support this rational assertion. Secondly, despite the logical reasoning in defense of natural immunity, even when ignoring the science, this discussion revolves around the principle of liberty. Liberty is defined as the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. The foundational document of this country, the Declaration of Independence, acknowledges that all men are created equal and they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, I understand that many would question, do we have the liberty to spread illness? And I understand that's a very good question. However, it's been clear for some time that both the vaccinated and the unvaccinated are transmitting this illness. And predominantly, it's the overtly ill who are transmitting the illness, not the asymptomatic. And that's been shown. So therefore, it begs questions why many in society are treating the asymptomatic and unvaccinated, particularly those who have natural immunity and have recovered, as outcasts. And so I'm not alone in my opinion, as I'm in the company of over 20 local physicians who are against vaccine mandates. Thank you. We greatly support Governor Ron DeSantis and Dr. Joseph Ladapo in their championing of early treatment and in their opposition to vaccine mandates. Thank you very much, and God bless. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Boyette. I'm going to assume that you're one half of the Cagle
I am.
clan. Perfect. And
I'm
then
the
on
Cindy
deck,
half.
Thank you, ma'am. And then on deck we have Sharon White. So,
I'm here representing Citizens for Medical Freedom. We are a citizen movement against these mandates. And my journey started several months ago with our city council, Milton City Council, asking for help against these unconstitutional mandates. I was directed to the Board of County Commissioners, being told that there wasn't anything they could do. I've approached them as well, and I felt like we got support on the issue while we were there confronting them, but as soon as I walked out the door, silence. My calls weren't returned, my emails weren't returned, and I'm slowly watching doctors lose their job, people becoming unemployed in our community. And I'm collecting policies from employers in our area that are disgusting. Baptist Hospital has a policy where they're not allowing unvaccinated employees to sit with vaccinated employees. How in 2021 are we allowing that type of mandate in our state, let alone our country? I was heartbroken today when I heard the FDA approved the vaccine now for 5-year-olds. How? Yes, we need to stop the madness, but how are we creating a community where the answer is segregate society? If we want to live in an environment where you allow private sector businesses to just decide they don't want to employ unvaccinated people, we're going back 20, 30 years. Is that acceptable to us as a society, as Americans? We put you in place to be creative and stop this. Help us stop this, please.
Thank you, Ms. Cagle. Are you Sharon White?
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you very much. Following Ms. White, we have Sharon Reagan on deck.
Thank you for having me. I want to second what they were saying. Protection of our constitutional rights to choose our medical treatment and our right to privacy. Vaccine mandates are unconstitutional, therefore we should have legislative action to reject any federal, state, or local government mandates that require medical treatment, including medical devices of any kind under any circumstances. A deemed emergency does not give the government the right to restrict the rights of the governed and dictate medical treatments. Of concern is SB 206, and I won't read it, but there's concerning language in that that allows for forced vaccination, so I'm hoping you could change that. I think it's important, especially with the age 5-year-olds getting approved for the vaccination, that we have public awareness about the content of the vaccines. That the available shots in the United States are EUA approved, they're not FDA approved. Also, we need to protect our voting rights. Our election machines and computers are able to be hacked and compromised. We need to return to paper ballots and hand counts. Voter identification and limited absentee ballot, military stationed abroad, or medically enabled voting is essential. The elections should be completely transparent and audits should be performed where integrity is in question. We need support for forensic audits and canvasses of the 2020 election in all states in order to reveal failures in our election system so that these failures can be approved and addressed. I would also like to talk about immigration. I would like to require all illegal immigrants to be banned from domicile in Florida. I'd like them to be removed to Washington, D.C. or sanctuary cities or states. Our open border is aiding and abetting human trafficking, and that needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Ms. White.
Yeah,
you're up on time, but we appreciate your comments. We have Sharon Reagan. Ms. Reagan?
Yes.
And then on deck is Lori Newman.
So I'm Sharon Regan. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. Thank you for coming. I am your typical red-blooded, America First, patriotic, biological woman, while I can still say woman. And I have the pleasure to be the co-founder of the Gulf Coast Patriots. We're about 8 months old and over 300 strong. And we've been very active this year, attending most all local government meetings, and in particular the school board. And you've already got a temperature on how we feel about the school board that continues to deny that critical race theory is in the books, but it is. And I'm here primarily to tell you that I know it is, because I'm the one that spent 5.5 hours culling through the books with my father and taking pictures of the pages that were suspect. So I am your witness firsthand. And so I'm here also to tell you that the school board denies that it's there. It is there. The school board says we adopted books that were approved by the state of Florida. They did. I need your help to fix the problem. The state of what we've discovered in contacting the state of Florida is that Richard Conkrin's Department of Education has a unit underneath his level that decides which curriculum is going to be approved by the state to meet the best standards, BEST. And those people are not under the authority of Richard Conkrin. We need to give that man power to where he can implement the policies of our wonderful governor, okay, and help his underlings in his division to cull those books that have offensive material in them. And that power, for some reason, does not exist in the department head, which is a complete irrational result for some reason. If you need help drafting that legislation, be happy to do it. That's what we do, and I would appreciate your help up in Tallahassee in that regard. I agree with Sharon White on her comments, and mandates are horrible. Let's get rid of those two. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Reagan. We have Lori Newman, and then on deck is Susan Cundiff.
Good evening. My name is Lori Newman, and I'd like to talk to you about a couple of issues. Hopefully I'll have time for both. Women's reproductive rights. You all seem to be under the misguided illusion that all of your constituents want you and other Florida legislators involved in the private and personal health making decisions of Florida women. I am here tonight to tell you that is not true. You have constituents, male and female, who will fight for a women's basic and constitutional right to control our own destinies, and will fight to keep your hands and your bans off of our bodies. At the same time, we want to work with you to reduce the number of abortions in our state. With that in mind, Senate President Simpson has come out in favor of a long-acting reversible contraceptive program to reduce abortions in Florida.
Ms. Newman,
this
one
seems
moment.
like
Newman?
a good idea and one on which we could agree.
Ms. Newman, I pause your time one moment. I haven't provided the caution yet to the group here, but we have had several cell phones go off. Please just take a moment and silence your cell phones. I appreciate the activity and participation tonight. We sincerely appreciate it, but the cell phones going off have been causing a distraction.
Thank you. Do I get my time back?
I paused your time, ma'am, so I'm going to start it back up when I shut up.
Thank you. So with that in mind, with Senate President Simpson, he has come out in favor of a long-acting reversible contraceptive program to reduce abortions in Florida. This seems like a good idea and one on which we could agree. I urge you to sponsor or co-sponsor such a bill in the House and Senate to reduce abortions and validate your pro-life credentials. And the other thing I'd like to talk about quickly is redistricting. Senate, all of you are included in this because this is what you do. Senator Broxson, you are vice chair of the Senate Reapportionment Committee, and Representative Andretti, you and Representative Williamson are members of one of the House redistricting committees. This means that you will be involved in producing new district maps for our state, a process that is too often gerrymandered to serve the interest of politicians instead of communities. I hope you would agree that voters should be able to pick their leaders and not the other way around. As lawmakers, it is your duty to follow the fair district provisions of our state constitution and end gerrymandering and have fair districts for all Floridians. I am here tonight because, like many of our other constituents, I want you to know that I expect you to abide by the fair district amendments in the state constitution during the upcoming legislative session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Newman, and thank you also for pronouncing my last name correctly. We have Susan Cundiff, and then on deck is Mally Hartenstein. Thank you.
My name is Susan Cundiff. I live out of Gulf Breeze. A recent article seen in the South Santa Rosa County News was titled, "State Acquires 2,115 Acres in Milton for Preservation of a Wildlife Corridor." This property is between Whiting Field and Blackwater River State Forest. There were also 6 other conservation purchases in the state of Florida. Is this a part of the 30 by 30 agenda of the Biden administration? Biden's executive order number 14008, tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad, was signed January 27th of this year. This program wants to set aside 30% of the land and oceans of the United States by 2030. What is 30 by 30? It's an unconstitutional policy shift, moving us from a nation founded on private property principles to one controlled by the administrative state and advanced by radical environmental activists. What can we do to stop it? We need to make a resolution, and I've given you a copy of those, and I'll send you other gentlemen one. We need to make a resolution not just in our county, but in our state, to stop this executive land grab. I have given model resolutions to gentlemen, as I just said. There are 2 resolutions there, one for the county with significant areas of federal land ownership. The other is for counties where the land is primarily privately owned, and I'm presuming that Santa Rosa County has a significant amount of federal land set aside. Well, who is opposing this land grab? Garfield County, Colorado, made the first resolution in February of this year. Counties, soil and water conservation districts, and regional government associations in 12 states have now adopted policies opposing the program. 15 governors have also formally opposed the program, as well as several United States House representatives and senators. Thank you for listening to me today. I enjoy my freedom, I enjoy where I live, and I can own property, and I hope to keep it that way.
Thank you, Ms. Cundiff. On deck, we have Len Cross.
How is everyone tonight? My name is Mally Hartenstein. I would just like to say our military and citizens are being bullied and threatened into participating into a medical trial against their will. Our military and corporations are infringing on America's constitutional and Title VII rights. DeSantis has called for a special session to allow you guys to draft the opportunity to draft legislation and protect Florida's freedoms. I would like to ask the lawmakers, since we're not going to have a lot of time, I did put some extra questions in there that I hope to get help, information, and resources that can be shared with people who are trying to fight for their freedoms, and I would like to ask for those to be returned to me by Friday, since medical mandate dates are looming for us. A few indisputable facts. December 14th, 2020 was the date that the first shot went into someone's arm. That means we have less than 1 year of data, safety data. These are indisputable facts. Regular vaccine takes 5 to 15 years of development. After the World War II Nuremberg Code was developed, among other things, it states voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential without the element of force, fraud, deceit, or coercion. The Nuremberg Code was ratified in 1964, the Declaration of Helsinki, and codified by the U.S. federal regulations. In addition, the FDA adopted these principles requiring informed consent of human subjects for all medical research, even in the case of emergencies. I assert that no one can give informed consent simply because they are lacking vital information, namely long-term safety data. There is not one person on this planet who can say what this vaccine will do in the next 5 to 10 years to anyone. How can you give informed consent? Period. Furthermore, masks fall under unwanted medical procedures since there are no efficacy studies and, more importantly, long-term studies on the physical or mental repercussions, especially among children in long-term mask use. Also, regulations, religious exemptions are being denied at an unprecedented rate. Department of Homeland Security's website says Title VII of the Civil Rights Act protects all aspects of religious observance and practice, defines religion very broadly, and for Title VII, religion is organized religion as well as religious beliefs that are new, uncommon, not part of any formal church, subscribed to by a small number of people, are seen illogical and unreasonable to some, or even if few or no other people subscribe to it. So when I see people getting religious litmus tests and asking how often they're going to church and letters from their pastor, I just don't even see how this is possible and how so many religious things are being denied under the broad definition of religious freedom.
Thank you, ma'am.
And finally, with the special session, and I'm saying that I have a son-in-law who is filing currently. He's in the military. I have, family members that are up against the same deadline. Coercion and short tactics. He was told days, ago that he had to get exemptions in today. I mean, we're waiting for a pastor to call. I mean, this just seems absolutely illogical to me. Special session is looming, so hopefully you guys can take the questions here today and post some good laws that are going to protect our freedoms.
Thank you, ma'am. So we have Len Cross, and then on deck is Ben Marble.
All right. Make no mistake, what's taking place in this country is unlawful. These mandates are unlawful, and they have been unlawful from the get-go. In this world, we have truth and lies. This entire thing has been built upon lies. And the truth is starting to come out, and you can hear it in the crowd, and you can't hide it when it starts coming out. So there's a storm coming. All right, she took kind of my thunder. I was going to read you the Nuremberg Code, okay? But I didn't want to have to read to you anyway. Okay, so a lot of times y'all are a day late, a dollar short, okay? Now you're talking about something that's been happening for months. People have already lost their job. Tons of people have already been coerced into taking these shots. These shots are not vaccines. That's a lie number one. It's not a vaccine. It never fit the definition of a vaccine. It's a lie. Ivermectin, they bring it up because why? Because it works. And it's there. Pfizer funds what? Funds all your media, and it's funding a lot of politicians also. We're not going to stand for it. So it's time to get to action. Today, what do? They pass something to give this to kids, all right? That kid cannot give their consent to be part of this experiment. Stop this before it hits the 11 to 5-year-olds in this state. Don't be a day late and a dollar short on stopping this before it hits the 11 to 5-year-olds. There is a ton of people who are under this spell who are still muzzling up 5-year-olds who, as soon as that thing pops out, they're going to go give it to that child. You need to stop that. It's an unlawful action. The repercussions of that are going to be horrid. The Gates Foundation funds the CDC, funds the WHO, and funds both Pfizer and Moderna, and he takes credit for it. He is not part of our government. What has taken place is a coup. And you can see it's a coup. This country's under a coup. The republic has fallen. It is time for us to build a wall of protection around your citizens, around the people you are sworn to uphold and represent, around the Constitution and the principles of liberty. These mandates violate all three, life, liberty, and property. You don't get any more life than your body. Your body is your property and your life. And anyway, y'all do what you got to do and get on it. Don't be a day late and a dollar short, and protect these children.
Thank you, sir. We have Ben Marble, and then on deck is Angela Carter.
So Dr. Marble had a family emergency. This is Dr. Cameron McKegg stepping in on his behalf. I'm here with 30 years of experience serving as a frontline emergency physician. Like firefighters, excuse me, going into a burning building, I and hundreds of other healthcare workers across the Panhandle went to work facing the flames of COVID-19, treating hundreds, if not thousands, of COVID patients, many of us getting COVID, and most, over 99% of us, recovering and returning to work. And we are now facing a premature loss of career and livelihood due to vaccine mandates. This fervent and dogmatic banning of unvaccinated healthcare workers is based on the twin lies of, 1, unvaccinated equals contagious, and 2, the second lie, vaccinated equals non-contagious. This isn't science, it's persecution, and we're in the front lines again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. After Angela Carter, we have Sean Barlow Wildman.
Evening, Chair. Gentlemen, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on any of these subjects. I've got so many that I've been following. I've met with Jer. Thank you for your time. Pass the heartbeat bill and save our children. Get rid of these mandates. Constitutional carry. Other states are doing it. Figure it out. We're tired. I'm telling you, these people, you hear it, we're tired. We're tired of not being listened to. We're tired of not being protected by our representatives. Two things I specifically want to talk about: Florida Statute 419.001. Jer's familiar with that. I've spoke with him about that. I live in a nice, quiet neighborhood back behind Stonebrook Golf Course. I now have a mental facility living next door to me. The police are there constantly. Can't enjoy your life, liberty, and property anymore there. Can't sell your houses. Got somebody right across the street, can't sell their house. Can't let the kids play in the yard because there's mental patients. I get what they're trying to do, mainstream them. They need to be out on more property. Please look at that statute and revise it to make them get out where they're not in a neighborhood where they are totally affecting the entire neighborhood. Number two, I'm a real estate agent. I came from a insurance update seminar today with 5 executives from the insurance industry. My better half is an insurance adjuster. I've talked to Jer about this. Get rid of the fee multiplier. It is killing us. It is killing the insurance industries, and our rates are going through the roof. You're hearing it from the other side. He's talking about it, and he's going to win because people are fed up with all this stuff. Last thing I want to say, this is America. Thank God today I still plant my feet on the ground of the United States of America. I'm asking you to stand up and fight with us, not for us. We're here. We will have your back. Stand up and fight for us to keep it the United States of America, because they are coming after all of us. I don't care how much money they give you. They can give you more campaign dollars than we can, but we've got a whole lot more votes and a whole lot more voices.
Thank you, ma'am. After Mr. Barlow Wildman, if the mayor of Crestview, Mayor J.B. Witten, did he ever show up? If not, we're going to move on to public comment after our last speaker.
Actually, my name is Tom Barlow, and I'm standing in for Sean. She couldn't make it, and her mother had an operation today. But I'm also here representing 6 generations of one family that has lived in the Holly community. And we have seen, we've been here since before Navarre, even since before Eglin Air Force Base was here. My great-grandfather homesteaded property on the Choctaw National Forest and then had to move when the War Department bought it up to make the Air Force Base. I remember as a young man going with my grandmother and her sisters out to their old homestead to visit the last time the government would allow them to go out. And I remember the tears when they had to leave. As a young man also, I remember everything around the Navarre community was called Holly Navarre. My grandfather worked tirelessly to help build that community. And you can go to the Navarre Park and see a monument there to my grandfather. But I've seen over the years as Navarre has taken the name of Holly off of everything Navarre. And now they want to incorporate. And they want to take our heritage away. The group now is called Preserve Navarre. Well, I ask y'all this evening to help us preserve the heritage of Holly and leave us out of the incorporation of Navarre. We don't need it. We don't want it. We voted it down every time it's been tried. If they don't want our name on their city, leave us out. And one last thing. In August, I was healed of COVID by the FDA-approved, Nobel Prize-winning ivermectin. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I want to thank everybody in the crowd for being respectful of each other's time, being so efficient, coming up in here and speaking. Because of that, we're able to, unless there's a comment or concern about it, attribute one minute to each person who filled out a form this evening. So thank you all so much for being respectful of each other's time so far. And first up in the submitted speaker forms is Chris Smith. And then on deck is Margie Perkerson. I hope I got that close enough. But Mr. Smith, you have the floor.
So I'll be quick, but everybody knows I can't handle a minute, and I'm going to say what I got to say. So I've seen our governor as he's handled COVID and federal mandates over the last few months, and I'm proud of him for standing up for freedom. I've heard the words, the free state of Florida, over and over again. That's a nice concept, except if you consider yourself a free state, we have some of the most extraordinarily unconstitutional gun laws in the United States. The Second Amendment will protect us against these mandates. That is the only guarantee to protect us against these mandates. Senator Broxson, I have seen you stand beside our governor as he has talked about freedom, and I'm not really sure how you can do that, as you were the deciding vote on the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Public Safety Act. For those of you who don't know what this legislation is, it was an absolutely outstanding liberal gun control bill that was passed by a bunch of rhino Republicans in the state of Florida, including our own Senator Doug Broxson, who was the deciding vote in the Florida Senate. This legislation bans 18 to 20-year-olds from buying any firearm in the state of Florida, not just handguns, not just modern sporting rifles, or what liberals like Senator Broxson call assault weapons, but any firearm, period. 18 to 20-year-olds can vote in our elections, they can die for our country, but they can't legally protect themselves in this state. The legislation also gives the state of Florida the ability to hold a person's background check indefinitely if they're trying to purchase a firearm. The FDLE has gone on time after time holding up hundreds of our customers from purchasing a firearm for months and months on time, as they go. Even when they've had a concealed weapons permit. I've tried to get them help, but no one in the government will help them at all. I've tried to reach out to you guys. No one will help these customers, especially you, Senator Broxson. I've brought a camera crew in here today to give you the chance to explain to all your constituents. Gulf Coast Gun has 30,000 Facebook followers. They'll all be watching this tomorrow night. I'd like you to explain how you voted for this unconstitutional bill, how you can explain being the deciding vote for it, and what you plan on doing to rectify this situation.
All right.
Senator Broxson, they're still listening. These people are probably waiting. If you'd like to.
Mr. Smith, I'm doing my best to be respectful of everybody's time here. I'm just going to ask that everybody else do the same. We got Margie Perkinson up, or Perkerson up. Where is Margie here? All right, then moving on to Eric Sieb. We got Eric Sieb and then Calvin Sullivan.
You got 30,000 people watching. Answer the question, Senator Brock.
All right, good evening, gentlemen. My name is Eric Sieb. I'm the operations manager at the Town of Jay. On behalf of Mayor Sean Owens, we want to thank you for your support last year of our well number 4 project and our Bray Hendricks Park project. This year, we will again ask for your continued support of that Bray Hendricks Park. Our budget is about $3 million. Santa Rosa County has promised $1 million towards us. We promised to put in $1 million toward that, and we've already received $350,000 from the state, and we're looking for additional support to get to that $3 million, as well as through some private support as well. So we appreciate what you guys do for the Town of Jay, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Up next is Calvin Sullivan, and then on deck is Darby Godwin. Is Calvin here? If not, we're moving on to Darby Godwin. You Miss Godwin?
Yes, I am.
All right, you have the floor. And then on deck is Hope Bush.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm Darby Godwin. I'm a private psychologist in Pensacola, Florida. You've heard that we're moving into communism. You've heard that your citizens do not like mandates. Let me tell you what a mandate really is. It is an order that overrides an individual's ability to think for themselves. And what's happened in this country is that not only are we being told what to do, but we're being told what we cannot say, what we cannot object to. We're being told that we're supposed to take a jab that we know, because of the CDC itself, their own VAERS report, that there are over 800,000 adverse effects reported in the data from the COVID vaccinations. We know that there are 17,128 deaths associated with those vaccinations as of today. We know that people are dying, and yet the FDA agreed today to approve the vaccines for 5 to 11-year-olds. What they did is they mandated child abuse. When we continue to let them undermine what we have the right to do as American citizens, shame on all of us. Yes, I appreciate the gentleman who said that it's our Second Amendment that's going to stop this insanity. Unless, of course, our legislators are able to stand up and say, this is not okay. I'm here today, and I've been told that I'm brave, because the licensing departments, the licensing groups that give me a license as a psychologist are telling, and doctors licensed as doctors are telling us that if we go against the COVID mandates, that we will have our licenses removed. Yeah, I'm going to be brave because I'm an American citizen, and it is my duty to stand against anything that goes against our Constitution. So thank you very much. Work for us.
All right, we have Miss Bush. All right, so we have Hope Bush, and then on deck is you guys are making it difficult for me. Maiwong Nguyen. All right, so you're on deck. Mimi, you're on deck.
Good evening and thank you. Whether I'm at the Navarre Senior Center or at church or in my club meetings, I'm speaking for a lot of people, and we're opposed to the incorporation of Navarre, and we just don't want another level of government added into our day-to-day lives. We are experiencing very turbulent times throughout this great country of ours. The national political scene is so divisive and so disturbing that many of us are simply tired of a nanny government and the discord and interference into our lives. Much too wasteful spending and attempts to control every facet of our day-to-day living has left so many of us disdainful of the bureaucrats and inequality heaped on all of us. And I'm talking about at the national level, gentlemen, just at the national, okay? The proponents of the Incorporate Navarre effort may have good intentions, but so many of the residents and voters in Navarre are skeptical and keep asking, what is to be accomplished by instituting another level of government on us, another method of taxation? The answer by some of the proponents is that we could have home rule to make our decisions Home rule exists already. We have access to the Board of County Commissioners. Why would we want to have to deal with another layer of bureaucracy? I lived in Bay County, Panama City. Am I doing?
Ma'am, you're up on time. If you can just wrap it up really quickly.
Okay. And I saw 7 different municipalities over there in Bay County in the fracture. And, it accomplished nothing as far as infrastructure.
Thank you.
And infrastructure is the big word here. We've got infrastructure in Holly Navarre. We don't need any more.
Thank you, ma'am. You provided a packet. I'll make sure it gets to the other two members.
And on these mandates, on these vaccines, I've been a heart patient since 2004. I've had every test. They've gone in behind my heart, everything. I've been treated. I'm on medications. But today, I went from a 6-month checkup, folks, and the only thing that's different that's happened is I've been given 2 injections of the Moderna vaccine. I own Moderna stock. But today, I got a new heart condition.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks to the inflammation.
Thank you. All right. So I believe it's Mimi, and then on deck is Wallace Mahout. That's it.
I'm Dr. Quinn. I'm an ER physician. Thank you for having me here today. I have been practicing for the last 25 years in an ER, and I have been compelled to come forward this evening to talk to you because in my 25 years, I have never seen so much vaccine-related injuries as I have seen in the last 8 months, okay? The other thing I'm concerned about is how is it that a disease that have a treatment, early treatment, very effective, ivermectin, and yet in other countries in the world, in Africa, in India, Uttar Pradesh, 240 million people, 70% of our United States, they are able to flatten the curve twice already. And as of like 4 weeks ago, there's 0 per day of death, and we're still doing 3,000 deaths per day. Why? Because even my own ER, we ban ourselves from giving patient ivermectin. It is not right when I have to go to the Tractor Supply store to treat my patient there. They go to the Tractor Supply to look for ivermectin. Look at Central America, El Salvador. They make these packages and hand it out to their patient. And here our patient have to go to Tractor Supply to get it. How is that right? Is that right? No. So, and then the other thing, one more thing. So the vaccine, these are the numbers in your face. How is it right that it is mandated when there has been 17,128 deaths? We cannot mandate a drug that has a side effect as death.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we got
Mr. Chairman.
I can stand here until tomorrow. I can stand here until tomorrow to tell you all the adverse reaction I had seen, and I'm only one physician.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ma'am, can you make sure that we have the documents that you have on the poster board? Can you email those to us, or do you have hard copies that you can give us tonight? Not the poster boards, but can you send? Okay, make sure that you get my email. My legislative aide will raise her hand. That's Sydney. And just get the email, and please send it, and I'll make sure that the other ones have it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so we have Wallace Mahout, and then on deck is Lieutenant Colonel David Trombley.
Hi, Wallace Mahout. I live in East Milton, here in Santa Rosa County. There's been a lot put before you this evening about our national crises. We're all sick and tired of a lot of stuff. And we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And what I have to say to you is I support Recall Florida, because here in Santa Rosa County, a lot of us citizens are very sick and tired of being sick and tired with our Board of County Commissioners. And I'm going to give you 3 examples. I can do it quick. At a recent meeting, one commissioner stated he'd rather listen to a prominent builder for 15 minutes than a regular citizen for 4 minutes. Now, I could tell you who that was, but I won't. I'll be nice. You want to know? My phone number's on the sheet. Give me a call. One commissioner stated that if it was any other person other than his home builder buddy asking for a rezoning,
Thank you, ma'am.
he would not approve it.
Thank you very much.
Last one is quick.
Well,
one commissioner stated that citizens who would like to increase wetland buffers are rhinos.
Well, thank you very
Now,
much,
we are in dire need of recall. We are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Understood.
Thank
you very much. Lieutenant Colonel David Trumbley. And then on deck is Patrick Rooney.
I stand here today COVID-free, thank you, because of Mimi, and she gave me ivermectin. So thank you. I retired 2 years ago, and my son is currently active duty. I've been standing with a lot of my friends who are not yet retired, who are being forced out because they will not take the shot. The mandates have got to stop. We need to call our elected officials and drive that issue with the Armed Services Committee and get the DOD to stop this. My son took a shot on a Friday because he was told if he wants to fly the F-35 for the first time on Tuesday, get your shot, be down for 4 days. And what's a 29-year-old going to do who wants to defend his nation but take the shot? It's an unfortunate thing, but I can't help the active duty. But what I can do is help my fellow civilian contractors. And I understand this is a right-to-work state, and there is property at Whiting Field that is Florida state property, and those of us that work in that building should have access to that building and not be forced not to go to work because we won't take the shot. My question to you is, will Tallahassee stand with us to keep those mandates from keeping us from getting access to the base? And I will say that the Secretary of Defense on the 18th of this month has gone ahead and undone what the Deputy Secretary of Defense did, saying we had to have shots, and is now going to force testing or shot. And if veterans can get on base without a shot or testing to go to the commissary, civilians and GS workers should be able to get on base to go to work in those buildings that are owned by the state of Florida.
Thank you, sir.
Will you stand with us?
All right. Patrick Rooney, and then on deck is Kathleen Smith.
Yeah, I'll just be real brief. People have said it all already, but is the mic going over? Hello? Okay, I'll be quick. One thing that I just want to say that hasn't totally been said yet, this whole COVID thing is such a joke. We've known for over a year how to stop COVID. Dr. Zev Zelenko in hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, there's a whole bunch of ways to do that. They've done the studies. They've saved almost every single patient there is as long as they are given treatment early. We all know that. If you hold the treatment back and let them get hospitalized, the chance of them dying goes up. They're doing it for the money. They're doing it for the power, and they're doing it for the money. If you take the money out of this, people will be healed. We've already known this. Now you have kids, 5 to 12. You know what happens if a 5 to 12-year-old gets COVID? You know what happens? Nothing. Nothing will happen to them because they have immune systems.
Thank you, sir.
So what are we doing forcing a experimental, dangerous vaccine on children?
Thank you, sir. All right, we got.
That's all I want to say.
You, sir.
The question is, what are you guys going to do about it? Are you going to protect us, or are you going to side with the people that are killing our children?
Thank you, sir. We got Kathleen Smith. Kathleen Smith up next.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I didn't necessarily plan on speaking when I came this evening, but I do appreciate the support of you guys being here and the support of everybody here. Thank you so much. I decided to speak because I thought maybe I'm just going to go ahead and share what life has been like for the last week at my house. I am a wife, a proud wife, and grateful to have a wonderful husband who has served our military faithfully for 20 years. He served me and my 5 sons, our 5 sons as well. And I'm just going to share a few personal things that have been going on for us. He is being forced to take his last flight in the Navy this week, unexpectedly. He knows that God is good. This is a change in direction, but the Lord always paves a Red Sea road wherever we go. It is have to do with this mandate and this shot. A friend had asked me, oh, is the flight landing in Florida? Is he getting a new plane? And I said, no, he's getting forced out of the Navy because he won't take the shot. We're hoping he gets away without a dishonorable discharge following his 20 years of faithful and honorable service. He had a horrible reaction to anthrax back in the day, to the point that they quit giving him the series. They didn't document it. He's had COVID. It matters not. He's had cancer. It matters not. He's supposed to be retiring before this whole thing goes into effect. It matters not. It's against his moral, spiritual conscience and oath to uphold and defend the Constitution for all of you, for everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Not just for his rights, the rights of individuals and freedoms of others. It matters not. It's a purge. It's the final purge of the military ranks. Military and medical, first responders. And when those lines of defense are broken, who do you think is going to protect and defend the people?
Thank you, ma'am.
And there's some different stories and different things there, but I just want to share one other letter that I wrote. A friend had sent something to me from a company called the Freedom Travel Alliance that's starting to bud, because I think all of you know what's going on with regard to the airlines and other places right now. I just wrote them a quick note because it was on my heart late at night, and I sent it. Why not?
Would you mind circulating that to us, and I'll make sure it gets to the other 2 members of the delegation?
Yes, sir. If you give me your contact information, I absolutely will.
Will do. Thank
Your
you.
mission is admirable and your tenacious spirit needed. Keep at it. If you should find yourselves contracting with airlines who share your vision or desire to construct an air travel division of your own, please keep us in mind, as my husband is also admirable and persevering in this fight for freedom. A U.S. Navy pilot and flight instructor with over 20 years experience, and also a GS pilot instructor for the United States Air Force. Unfortunately, he's currently being threatened and with unwarranted and untimely termination because of his beliefs and his stand for freedom. He selflessly committed his life and that of myself and our 5 sons who are behind him all the way he committed his life to honorable service and the preservation of people's God-given and constitutional rights. As a leader amongst his fellow pilots, flight engineers, air crew, and stellar maintainers, he would gladly continue to do so.
Thank you, ma'am.
If this military would align with the principles that they purport to take an oath to defend and uphold. With approximately 5,000 flight hours on the books, I'm confident he would prove a valuable asset to anyone needing to envision, create, construct, or implement any type of air travel, just fighting for freedom. And I will say this prayer quick to everybody here. May God bless your endeavors. May he be glorified through your efforts, because he alone is the true author of liberty.
Thank you.
We all stand before him.
All right. Thank you very much. That was our final speaker card, I believe. Unless there's any other business to come before the delegation this evening, I will call this.
We'd like to hear from you guys. What you're going to do?
Did you, ma'am, if you want to speak, please come up to the podium and have a minute. Just make sure you fill out a speaker card before you leave.
I filled out the card. Carmen Reynolds, and I am the co-founder of Recall Florida. These emotional appeals we've heard tonight are also practical, and I hope that they do not fall on deaf ears. It is imperative that this special session that the governor wants to have happen, and that you all stand along with others up there and convey what you have heard here tonight. Florida is cordoning off and hopefully protecting the people. But what is happening is a mathematical nightmare. These emergency physicians that have spoken tonight, I hope you get each and every one of them up there to testify in your Senate and your House committee meetings. They need to hear that our military, number one, of which I was a part, and I would be relieved of duty and punished because I will not accept a vaccine that is going to further injure me, and I'm already vaccine injured.
Thank you, ma'am.
They are culling our military. This is going to be a national security situation here. People are losing their jobs. Our economy is threatened. And our medical profession is going to be severely hampered, and they're not even going to be there to help the vaccine injured, the people that are going to become sick from these vaccines, nor the people that are currently ill and need medical help. So it's a mathematical situation, and it's going downhill fast. We need intervention. We need intervention sooner rather than later. And Obi-Wan, you are our only hope.
Thank you, ma'am. The last speaker for the evening is Christine Ortland.
All right. Hi. I've never been to one of these before. It's been very enlightening. Thank you, everybody. I'm a biologist. I'm a retired park ranger. I've worked for the DEP. I live in Gulf Breeze and have lived there most of my life. I remember a time period when my mom used to be able to walk us across the street to go to the store. I live a mile away from the store. If I walk my children to the store, it's a life and death chance. I don't think that's freedom. I mean, I want to be able to go to the store without getting in a car and paying for gas. I want to lessen my impact on our world, teach my children how to lessen their impact, but I can't because the development is getting crazy, and you take your life in your own hands. The park is a mile away from my house. We can't ride our bikes to the park. We have to get in the car. That is ridiculous. That's not freedom. Okay, so a lot behind me. I live in Paradise Bay. The developers have built a swamp. The developers have owned the wetlands lot for 40 years, waiting for the real estate market to get popping. Well, I bought the lot behind my house for conservation easement. The neighbor also bought their lot for conservation easement. Now the developer thinks that the wetland lots are being sold. So in the middle of the night, they come in and they try to fill it. I call, code enforcement, DEP, county, Amy Tooley's, everybody. They could have consolidated the environmental impact, but nobody wants to get away from behind their desk. So me and my kids are out there after every hurricane straightening up trees and doing the best we can. There's red clay going through multiple springs.
Thank you,
I've
ma'am.
called Kenneth Dickey, DEP. Nobody will do their job. And I heard they were getting another permit. The developer tried to funnel it through a real estate agent in Tennessee to try to pretend like it's not like being done shady, but it's so shady.
Thank you, ma'am.
Get 20 dump trucks in the middle of the night, a local.
Thank you. And thank you all for your input this evening. Unless there's anything else to come before the delegation, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Sorry, I filled out a form real quick. Give me 30 seconds. No, I would like everybody to hear this. I would like everybody to hear this. No, I want you to hear this. I want everybody to hear this, okay? I don't know if you remember me or not, but no, listen, you're going to listen. I'm Shannon Webby, okay? I have contacted you on numerous occasions about Innisfree hotels and what happened with my 18-year-old son. You called me a liberal because I will not get the vaccine. Yes, you did. I have it in writing. You called me a liberal. You told me that it was a right-to-work state. He could get another job somewhere else. You were not supportive at all, and I think everybody here should know this. I think you should know this. You called me a liberal in front of everybody. They should know that you do not support. You have been at vax drives. You have been at vaccine drives for kids. 12 to 18. You have been at the drives.
Don't talk him into following y'all down a dirty road.
I'm not being respectful. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I just want you to know that you call me a liberal and you do not support. you don't support anybody.
We would like to hear from you guys about all of this as well.